CEPEP CEO, I was pressured by Al-RAWI to extend contracts without cabinet approval. In a significant development in the CEPEP court case, Chief Executive Officer Keith Eddy has claimed he was pressured by former local government minister Faris Al-RAWI to approve the mass renewal of contractor contracts without cabinet approval, just days before the April 28th general election. Eddy, in a sworn affidavit filed on July 17th, said such a move was unprecedented during his 9-year tenure at the state-owned company. He is also challenging an affidavit by former CEPEP chairman Joel Edwards, who denied that cabinet approval was required or obtained for the extension of 336 contracts. Edwards had previously stated that a board note referencing cabinet approval was inaccurate. He claimed he had ordered a revised version of the note, but could not locate a copy in his records. Eddy has disputed that claim, accusing Edwards of misrepresentation. In his affidavit, Eddy said the proposed contract extensions would have cost the state an estimated $1.4 billion, and, given the scale of the expenditure, prior cabinet approval was necessary, particularly since the contracts were to be extended for up to 3 years, not just one. He said his caution was influenced by a May 2024 accusation that CEPEP had engaged in unjustified and uncontrolled spending without proper consent. According to Eddy, the Central Audit Committee of the Ministry of Finance had allegedly uncovered and reported major discrepancies. Eddy said he informed Edwards that he would not proceed with a blanket extension of contracts without cabinet approval. He also claimed he refused to engage with an individual described as Al-RAWI's right-hand man, who had allegedly sought to facilitate the process. I felt as if I was being pressured into extending the contracts without cabinet approval, despite my expressed view that this was necessary, Eddy said. Once cabinet approval was granted, I would have had no difficulty in implementing the decision. He argued that since CEPEP is fully state-owned, committing $1.4 billion without proper authorization would have been unethical, if not illegal. It would obviously be unreasonable for such a transaction to proceed without the government having any knowledge of it, because of the implications for the national budget, he stated. Eddy further claimed that in the run-up to the general election, he came under intense pressure from Al-RAWI and others to add new contractors and assist certain companies. He said he repeatedly asked for documentation or proof that Cabinet or the Ministry of Finance had approved such changes, as he did not wish to become a fall guy. According to Eddy, in April, the month of the general election, Al-RAWI called him multiple times demanding that new contractors be added to the CEPEP program. I was extremely concerned about his aggressive and demanding nature because I was being asked to add these contractors without any corresponding increase in funding, far less approval from the Ministry of Finance, he said. Eddy alleged that whenever he requested Al-RAWI put the instructions in writing, the minister would get angry and never did so. Eddy attached a screenshot of a WhatsApp conversation allegedly between himself and Edwards on April 3rd, in which Edwards wrote, "Minister tell me you're giving him trouble." Eddy responded, "He wants to put in new contractors without approval." He said that he spoke to the finance minister, and it was approved, but no evidence was provided. To that, Edwards allegedly replied, "He may not be telling the truth." Being diplomatic, Eddy replied, "I know he is not telling the truth." Eddy also addressed the claim that cabinet approval had been granted for the contract extensions. He said he was informed by Edwards that approval had been received. I questioned him about the source of this important information, and he indicated that CEPEP's line minister, Mr. Faris Al-RAWI, had advised him that Cabinet had considered the matter and granted the necessary approval, Eddy said. Based on that assurance, Eddy said he instructed the corporate secretary to prepare a board note. According to him, Edwards insisted that the note reflect that Cabinet had already approved the contract extensions and that the board was simply ratifying and implementing the decision. The note was prepared and circulated via email on April 23rd at 3:35 p.m. Eddy stated, "At no point was I ever informed by Mr. Edwards or anyone else that the board note contained any error. I was never given any directive to prepare or circulate a revised note." He referenced a WhatsApp message sent by Edwards earlier that day at 1:22 p.m. to a group chat with CEPEP directors, stating, "Good afternoon, everyone. I neglected to mention at the board meeting that pursuant to Cabinet approval, We are extending contracts that would have ended in 2025 and 2026 for a further period of 3 years. Mr. Eddy is doing a note for circulation. Eddy said Edwards never informed the board that Cabinet had not in fact approved the extensions, or that the board note was inaccurate. He described Edwards' current claims as a complete concoction and fabrication, aimed at diverting responsibility for the false representation about Cabinet approval. Given the seriousness of the matter, Eddy said he intends to refer it to the police commissioner, the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, and the Integrity Commission for investigation. I have absolutely nothing to hide, he said. Attempts by Guardian Media to reach Faris Al-RAWI for comment were unsuccessful. The allegations form part of a high court matter involving Eastman Enterprises Limited and CEPEP. The lawsuit, brought by the People's National Movement, PNM, on behalf of the Laventille-based contractor, stems from the termination of Eastman's contract, along with more than 300 other CEPEP contractors, by the current administration. CEPEP, represented by Senior Counsel Anand Ramlogan of Freedom Law Chambers, is seeking to have the lawsuit struck out.